In October 1955, the MV Joyita set sail across the South Pacific with 25 souls on board. It was a ship built to be unsinkable. Literally, it was packed with enough cork and fuel drums to stay afloat, even if the hull was completely shattered. 5 weeks later, it was found. The ship was still floating. The engines were still running. The tables were set for dinner, but every single person had vanished into thin air. No bodies, no lifeboats, no SOS. Today, we dive into a paradox that defies logic. Why would 25 people abandon a ship that refused to sink, only to step into an ocean that was waiting to kill them? The Joyita was a 69-foot luxury yacht converted for merchant work. For the 25 people on board, it was supposed to be a routine 48-hour journey to the Tokelau Island. But the ship was in poor repair. A cooling pipe was silently corroding, slowly filling the hull with water. Despite the flooding, the cork lining meant it could not sink. The passengers were actually safer staying on the waterlogged deck than anywhere else in the Pacific. But in the middle of a dark, storm-tossed night, with no power and the deck listing at a terrifying 45-degree angle, they didn't see a life raft. They saw a coffin. To understand the decision to leave, we have to look inside the mind of Captain Thomas Miller. Miller was drowning in debt and desperate for this trip to be a success. When the water began to rise, something in Miller snapped. Experts believe he suffered from the captain's tunnel vision. He may have been so ashamed of the failure that he refused to turn back until it was too late. Imagine the psychology of that moment. The crew, exhausted and terrified, following a man who had lost his grip on reality. They stepped off a dry, buoyant deck into tiny, flimsy life rafts because they were more afraid of the captain's panic than they were of the ocean itself. But the psychology of panic doesn't explain the final, chilling discovery found in the wreckage. Investigators found a doctor's bag on the deck. Inside were scalpels and bandages soaked in blood, yet there was no sign of a struggle. The ship's clocks had all stopped at exactly 10:25. Every lifeboat was gone, but the cargo, far too heavy for life rafts, was also missing. From a detective's perspective, these pieces don't fit. Blood-stained bandages suggest a surgery or a fight, not a shipwreck. And those stopped clocks? They tell us exactly when the power failed, or when someone deliberately cut the line. So, what actually happened? Investigators have spent decades trying to piece together 3 primary theories. Theory 1, the mutiny. Did the crew, fearing for their lives, try to take control of the ship by force? It explains the blood, but not why they would leave a floating ship. Theory 2, the Japanese fishing fleet. Did the Joyita witness something illegal? Did a foreign crew board the ship and execute everyone? It explains the missing cargo and the total silence. Theory 3, insurance fraud. Did Miller stage a crisis for money that spiraled out of control? Each theory has a hole that logic can't fill. We are left with a dark paradox. 25 people who chose a certain death in the shark-infested ocean over a ship that refused to go down. As an investigator, I see the clues, but the truth remains underwater. What do you think they saw in those final moments that made the Pacific look like a safer bet? Leave your theories in the comments. The most disturbing one might just be the truth.